Good evening, Molweni and Goeienaand. My name is Maambele Kosa and I am based in the Faculty of Science. I am responsible for undergraduate students recruitment and marketing. On behalf of the entire Faculty of Science, congratulations for being conditionally accepted to join this beautiful campus next year. I am not alone. I am with my beautiful colleagues. Right next to me, we have Ms. Attica Valentine, who is the coordinator for academic and students affairs in the Faculty of Science. Make sure you know her face, her name. You will definitely need her. I am also here with me, Dr. J.J. Van Zyl, who is the lecturer in the physics department. Most of you will definitely meet up with him, so make sure you remember his face. And lastly, I am with the Faculty of Science Director, Ms. Marietta van den Vorum. And all of us here, we want to put you at ease. You know what I always say. We want to answer your questions. We want to make sure that you know exactly what to expect, where to go when you get here, and what else to look out for. So please make sure you send through all those questions that you have via the WhatsApp line. You probably saw the phone numbers on the screen, so send through your questions. I can see that we already have a few questions. I just have to also make it clear to you that my colleague, Ms. Marietta, will be reading all your questions to make sure that we answer you. So welcome, colleagues. Are you ready? All right, we already have more than 10 questions. I'm very excited for this. What is the first question?
Yes, the first question is actually a very important one and one that we've heard many times before. This is a particular student that have applied for a program for medicine, have not been accepted into medicine. At this stage also did not get the second choice, human life sciences, not accepted for that. And now want to know if the student improves his or her, I don't know whether it's a girl, boy, marks, when will we consider that student for the second choice, the human life sciences? It is an Afrikaans one. As jy nie omgee nie, gaan ons in Engels dit beantwoord, want ek dink is baie wat seker dieselfde vraag het.
Okay, so basically the question is there a waiting list? I think Ms. Valentine, you can answer that one.
Okay, sure. So, yeah, that's a critical one. And our students with second choices that were not accepted, we only consider them or reconsider them in January after final results are out. So they can submit a request, and the request form is available on the application site or on the martis.com site. And they submit a request with the improved results for reconsideration. But just to mention also, so Human Life Science is a program that is completely oversubscribed. It's a program with a lot of applications and we're quite strict on that one. And our cut-off in terms of selection for this program is at 80%. So please consider maybe other programs if you submit your request for reconsideration. And programs with similar curricula is the program in BSc Biodiversity and Ecology, the BSc Sports Science program, the BSc Molecular and Biotechnology program. So those are all with similar first year curriculum, and students must maybe look at this, or applicants must look at those programs rather than setting their hopes up on a program that is already oversubscribed and chances are quite slim to get in.
All right, thank you so much. So I see a lot of you are sending your questions. I love it. I love you guys, and we are here to answer them, as I have said. Another question, an interesting one that I saw earlier on. If one student has now accepted an offer, I mean, they had to accept offers up until end of September, what should they expect from now onwards?
Okay, so accepting the offer means they're in a good space, because now they have to concentrate on their exams, the final school leaving exams, and then in December they will get access to the Onboarding Program, which is preparing them virtually for the start of their academic career. And then in January, when final results are out, they will get a final offer. And they have 3 days to accept this offer. And if they accepted the offer, they will get a link to actually register, and that's the start of welcoming in February.
All right. Thank you so much. So basically in January, when your results are released, you will get an offer that is like a final offer, which you have to accept within 3 days. Don't miss that, okay? Don't miss that. All right. So another question I need to know from Dr. Fanzel. You have been a lecturer in the physics department for quite a while now, and you've interacted with so many newcomers of first years. But at this point, they are at home. They want to know. I know, guys, I'm speaking on your behalf because I am 100% certain that you will get your final acceptance in this university, and most importantly in the Faculty of Science. So I know that you are coming and you will join us. So now that we know that they are coming, what kind of textbooks can they get? They need to know what kind of textbooks to buy.
I'm glad they're so eager. Look, you can relax. By the time you get to university in the beginning of the year, all these information will be given to you. Every course is different. Every different course requires a different textbook. That information will be made available, so you can relax, enjoy your break while you still can. And the moment you're back at campus in the beginning of the year, we'll tell you everything you need to buy if you need to buy something.
If I may just add the one thing that we do need to tell the students, for textbooks especially, it is quite a costly enterprise. That's why you don't go about just buying all these books, but you need to do the planning, at least with your parents, with your bursar, whatever, to know how are you going to afford a textbook that you would need in the end. So that is very important that they plan for that.
Thank you so much.
And also, can I add?
Yes.
So also, what is important that when class starts, there's also senior students on campus that have books available, and so don't just go on and buy new books, because these books are also in circulation, and senior students are selling it for quite less than what it is actually in the bookstores.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, colleagues. And remember, as a potential science students, we need to be sustainable. So let's recycle, let's reuse the books or the textbooks. So should it happen that the very same textbooks that they are using this year, it will still be usable for you next year, you might as well just buy a second-hand textbook. So wait until you get here. Thank you so much. Do we have another question?
There's the question, and I think, JJ, you can, about what can we recommend with regards to a computer, a laptop, and whether they need one. I think you said you'll answer that one.
Yeah, again, it's really not necessary for first-year students to have a computer already when they start. Maybe in your second year or third year, the requirement is a little bit more. So again, students can relax. When you come to campus, there are computer facilities available on campus that you can make use of. There are information on the university webpage which you can look at to see what kind of computer would be ideal to buy. But again, you can relax. When you get to your first year, there are much more things you need to concern yourself with. There's a lot of reading you need to do, a lot of work that you need to do. So computer is really not the thing you have to worry about when you start.
All right. Thank you so much. Do we have another question?
Yes. I think it was something, Autika, you've already mentioned. This particular student did the Cambridge curriculum, A-levels. So they want to know, where should I submit my final results when I receive them in January?
Okay, so they must actually refer back to the conditional offer, because the details of where these results should be submitted is on that document.
All right. So in short, if you are writing with the Cambridge, I know that their results also get released a bit later than the NSC one. But then apparently the email that you received regarding your conditional offer has all of that information. Please prove me correct, ensure that you can read carefully so, and then you'll get all your answers regarding that. But other than that, you are also welcome to email us at any time if you need to get clarity regarding something else along those lines. I also have access to your questions just here on my right, and I see another question says, how many BSc students are there in first year? How many first years are we actually taking?
Okay, so we are only allowed to take 750 students, and we got applications from 21,000 not people, but 21,000 applications we actually received. And then we sent out offers to plus minus 6,000 applicants. And so for final offers, we will look at people meeting the selection requirements before you will receive a final offer. And then just one thing that I would like to emphasize is the difference between admission requirements and selection requirements. So what is very important is that to receive a final offer, you have to meet the selection requirements.
All right, so I am quite certain that most of you actually have an idea that what is the difference between the admission requirements versus the selection mark, and you've met the selection mark. That's why you are watching us right now. But just remember, you need to get what you had already or higher, no backwards. Okay, thank you so much. So another question, Ms. Van den Voram, I want to believe that there are parents at home watching us as well who joined their children. Those are parents or guardians, and they want to know what role can I play from now until my child goes to university in order to support them, to make sure that I am there for them. We all know that it's quite different in this environment versus at a school level where parents might actually be very much involved. But the question is, what can they do to support their children, basically?
Yes, Ambi, it's a very, very important question. We find it that the students are all on their own here, and they have to find their way, and they must become independent. They must do their own thing. They must come and ask us. We're a huge number of people that can assist them. So the first thing is we ask them, you as parent, just urge them. I think, JJ, you said we must push them. Urge them and remind them that they must come and ask. They need not struggle anywhere. But please, try not to do the things on behalf of your child. If I say that as a mother that also wanted to take over and do everything on behalf of my child. And I had to learn myself that I must rather support them and probe them and tell them to go and find out or do themselves. From now until they have to come in January, talk to them, make sure that if they've got questions that you help them to find the answers to those questions or to help them to seek the answers to those questions. I think that's the most important thing, and just be there to encourage them, to push them, to support them, but not to do the things for them. I think that's the most important thing.
Thank you so much. So basically you need to teach them to be independent. They will need a lot more of that, and of course a little bit of your money here and there. Anyway, Miss Valentine want to add something, so
so they must also remember that once the student are registered, the student becomes our client. And with the Protection of Personal Information Act, it is difficult for us to give information to third parties. And although you are the parent, and although you have a responsibility and is financially responsible for that student, the student is our client, and we can only communicate with the student per certain information. So keep that in mind when you communicate with us, and that you make sure that your child is included in all of the correspondence with us.
All right. Thank you so much. I see there's another question that says, please give me an example of what does a day in my life will look like for a science student. So basically this learner also said, just e.g. lecturers versus tutorials. So, Dr. Van Zyl, can you please just unpack that? What is the lecture? What is the tutorial?
Okay, that's a great question. Let me start off by saying that when you're at university, every opportunity is a learning opportunity. Your goal when you're at university is to add as much to yourself as you possibly can. There will be lecturers where you formally meet with a lecturer that will maybe go through some material and give you some structure, some framework. You'll be sitting in a class with other peer students that you can ask questions and engage with. It's a learning experience. You may not understand everything in that class. It may take a while for your brain to get used to these things, but it's an experience that you can have. There are other experiences where the lecturer and some of the tutors can engage with the students on a more personal level, and those are called tutorials, where you will be engaged with some problems, some questions and problems that was maybe discussed in class further. Again, it's an opportunity for a larger group of students to get together, to work together, to help one another, to master these skills that we were talking about in the classes. So there are even practical opportunities in some afternoons where you will engage with maybe experimental apparatus and learn the scientific method in a practical way, a hands-on way. And so there are many opportunities with different aims at giving you that exposure that you need to have to grapple with the material and gain the skills that you need to gain.
Thank you so much. I saw another question, Dr. Van Zyl, while we're still with you. I know that you were also a teacher.
Yes.
Is that correct?
That's
all right.
correct.
So one question says, what is the difference in workload that a first year doing a BSc can expect when compared to high school subjects such as physical sciences and life sciences and mathematics? So basically the difference in workload.
Okay, this is a deep question. A lot. I can speak for physics. Physics is a complicated, complex skill set. And there's a lot to learn. There's a lot of skills to learn. And you will have months, years to pick up these skills. Some courses cover a whole semester, some cover a whole year. The workload is a lot. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to know about nature. I can suggest maybe don't think about the amount of work, but try to get excited and ask yourself, why am I here? What do I want to learn? Give me more. There is a huge difference. School has got a limited amount of volume. There's only a selection of material that you have to know. University is a load of work. And the aim is for you not to just to know the material and memorize the material, but actually to have it on your fingertips. So the engagement with the material is super important. So I would suggest don't think so much about the volume, but think of the opportunities that you can engage with the material and make it yours. And hopefully that will push you through and allow you to gain mastery over the skills that you need to want.
Thank you.
May I ask a question on behalf of a student?
Yes.
Now, what do I do with exam papers and test papers? And do you provide me with that? Because that's what they do ask, is, will I get papers to try and see how I can answer them? Practice.
My answer is no. No memos, no question papers. I like to use the analogy. If you set off to learn to play a violin, for example, I can give you one song to play and you can practice that one song, and at the end of the day, all you can do is play one song. That's not what I want. That's not what you want. You want to learn to play the instrument. You want to understand the instrument. So what we do at university, we provide you with material. You learn that, you engage that, you pick up the skill, and then we're going to test you to see whether you have mastered the skill. Think of it as self-assessment. Try to find out, did I really understand this material? Do I know this? Have I mastered the skill? So there will be tests that will test whether you can apply the stuff that we've discussed. And so I would like students not to think about
The workload.
Not to think about specific questions that if I can memorize all these questions or know all these questions, I'll be able to pass the exams. No. Think of, can I master the skill? And can you ask me questions that I can test myself whether I really understood this? So memos, the same kind of thing, memoranda, answer sheets. I'd like to have students test themselves and understand whether they can do a problem and not just agree with somebody else's answer. So the best advice would be test yourself. Don't look at somebody else's answer. Convince yourself that you are capable of doing it. So for yourself, past papers, a big no-no. Memos, a big no-no. Rather just test yourself and try every problem that you can.
Wow, thank you so much. Remember, if you can recognize this line that I'm about to say, then you are definitely a potential Mati. Who you become, it's only a sum of all the chances that you are taking right now. So come and take chances with us, guys. Workload, it doesn't matter. Just come here and explore science with us. Any other question that we have from your side?
Yes, I think perhaps this is a type of question, Artika. The student says, where can I find out more information on the different modules, and will computer systems students take physics as a module? With other words, it's the curriculum.
Yeah. Okay, so when you get into that kind of detail, it's in our calendar or the yearbook that you will find on the website under the Faculty of Science. You will find the calendar with the specific curriculum for the program that you've been accepted for. And then you have compulsory modules in a curriculum, and you have elective modules in it. So from the electives, there's always a prescription that this is the amount of electives that you should select. And then in the back of the calendar, you will find the details of those modules, what they actually offer in each and every one of them.
All right. Thank you so much. There's something that we missed here. These potential students said, if a student is doing computer systems, do they take a module such as physics? And that's because they heard what Dr. Fanzel was saying. Listen, you will have an opportunity to meet him and other interesting lecturers in this university. We are waiting for you. And so another question right now will possibly be, what are the support services that are available? This is me asking for you because I can see you are typing, but you are taking time. So what are the support services available in the university?
Okay, so within the modules, lecturers offer support to students, academic support, and then we also have the differentiated tutorial support for students. We also have computer user areas that students can use. We have a library services that students can use, so all that type of help is available. And then also in terms of psychosocial support, we have the Center for Student Counseling and Development that looks after the well-being and the mental well-being of our students.
Right, wonderful. Thank you so much. I see another question that came in that says, may I ask? Yes, you can ask. If you do poorly in the first few semesters, is it doable to make up for your marks? So basically, is it doable to clean up the mess that I did because I was just a newcomer? What's the answer? I think this one is for Dr. Van Zyl. Is it doable?
Yes, it is always doable. I would like not to talk about failure. Failure is if you didn't try.
All right.
If you don't master a skill within a given time, so what? Okay. Maybe you need more experience. Maybe you need more time. Maybe it's not you. So what? It's not a failure. Okay. Some skills are hard. And we talk about student support, but maybe push yourself a little bit further. Maybe don't give in to support from somebody else when you really want to master that skill. So if you don't succeed at first, try and try again. There are students that maybe don't pass a module. They always come back because they know what they want for themselves. So there are opportunities where you can redo modules. These modules also take time. So we will try to warn you very quickly in the semester if things look bad. And then you can see if there's other ways of you studying that may be more effective. I invite all my students to come and chat with me. If they do struggle academically, come and sit with me, come and chat with me. Maybe there are better ways to study than what you're currently doing. That's what I would say.
Can I
Yes.
contribute just to this? You said redo. We must just iterate it very clearly. If you fail, if it should happen, which is not going to happen with you guys, if you should fail a module which is in your curriculum and a compulsory one, you will have to redo that because you have to pass it before you can get the degree at the end of the 3 years. If you did the module and you didn't get the 80%, you got the 50%, then it's okay. You have passed it. You won't be able to redo that module because you want to improve your marks. It's just basically a capacity problem, that we don't have seats for people that want to redo it. So, but you will improve in the next module that you will be doing, and you will do better.
And also to add, so that's my office, and the purpose of my role in the faculty also is to find alternatives for you. So if something did not work, then you can come to my office and we identify what went wrong and why you did not succeed in that particular one. Once we've identified that, we can look at alternatives, either alternative programs or alternative modules that you can do in your specific program to make sure that you still meet program requirements and can be successful and move forward. So it's never a dead end. We find solutions to it. And sometimes students don't see these solutions, but that's why I welcome students to my office.
Thank you so much, colleagues. Apparently, we always find solutions for you. The question is, you as a future scientist, what solutions are you going to find? But anyway, that's a question you're going to answer in the next 3 years as a MATI student. Another question came through and it says, so if I have already accepted a conditional offer now or for a specific program, can I still change to another program? Miss Valentine?
Yeah, that's very difficult. So our programs are quite full at the moment, and to be reconsidered for or to change your program, you can submit a request for reconsideration, but that's only after final results are out. And that's also, so you will go through a process of selection again because you have to meet the selection requirements, and it does not mean that you will be selected and get another offer for the program that you are now interested in. So say for instance, if you already have accepted an offer, but now you're interested in something else, you submit a request for reconsideration, then you will lose that place because you will be considered in a complete list again. So that is very, very important. It is not guaranteed when you have an offer that you will get another offer for the new program that you're interested in.
All right, thank you so much. So another thing or another question to ask. Nobody asked this question. I'm not going to lie, guys. I am asking for you. There is what we call the onboarding program, right? What is that? Can you please just repeat it or say it again for them so that they can be on the lookout on what to expect? Where do they access the onboarding program? And how helpful is it?
So the onboarding is very, very important. It is this virtual suitcase where we help them to make that change from high school into university. So it's got all, and eventually what you need in terms of your computer and what you need in terms of your textbooks, you will also find on the onboarding site. So at the start of December, the university will communicate with you again the details of how to access onboarding. You will get a password and your username, and this is run on our learning management system. And it's a couple of modules and things that you have to work through, and we normally recommend that you work through this before you come to Stellenbosch and before you start with a welcoming program. But it's that virtual suitcase. It's academics, it's the social stuff, it's financial stuff, how to manage and to survive once you're back in Stellenbosch.
All right, so basically, as Miss Valentine had said, that is a virtual suitcase. That means you do not start packing to come to Stellenbosch University in January or February. You have to start packing right now. And for you to do that, you need to make sure that you enroll for yourself for the onboarding program so that you get to know, I know you're curious people. That's why you want to study science. But can you start at least to dilute that curiosity in terms of what to expect at Stellenbosch by enrolling yourself on the onboarding program, get to know campus, get to know what is available for you, so that when you get here, when we repeat that information, should we do that, it's not going to be new. Thank you so much.
Can I contribute to that? I want to say, actually, it's compulsory that they do that. Because, Atika, I'm sure you can also say that many times a student later in the term will come and will be totally lost. And then if we talk to them, we found they didn't attend or they missed out on this. So while you've got the time, in the onboarding, look at everything, because when the term starts, it is so full and so busy, then you don't have time to catch up. So make it a holiday project.
Do you want to add something, Ms. Valentine?
No, I just noticed the question about the triple major.
Yes.
So,
Right?
I don't know if Marietta's going to read that.
Okay, I was leaving this. We've got very bright students. This student asked whether they can do a triple major. Now, for those who do not know, let's just say, what is a major? That is actually the subject or discipline that you have in your final year, which you take right through from your first to your third year. That's what we call a major. Now, most of our curricula, I think, Atika, has been set up in such a way that they lead towards a double major. That in the end, the year before you graduate, you have at least two disciplines, physics and maths, or physics and chemistry, or whatever, as majors. So in some cases, there is another subject probably in your last year, but you won't take it as extensively that we can call it a total major and that it would prepare you to continue into an honors. Sometimes it's just a discipline that contributes to your majors. But the curriculum will probably not have time in it for you within your 3 years to do a full 3-year major, but it would depend on how long you take also. Sometimes because of something, take longer, and then you can see what you can fit into your time that you have. Because it's very important that you must allow yourself sufficient time to do the things you have to do, to contribute to the studies that you have to do. Additional subjects or additional work can only be done if you've got the time and to cater for that.
All right, thank you so much. So something interesting is about to happen. Can you guess what is it? It's 6 o'clock now. Something is coming. But anyway, it's time for load sharing. But don't worry, we are still here with you. If ever we disappear for like 5 seconds from the screens, don't run away. We are still here. So here's another question that just came through. One learner says, good evening. If my conditional offer has expired, is there a way I can get it back? Some magic?
No, we don't do magic. So the Faculty of Science does not reissue offers that expired. If there's extenuating circumstances that resulted in a person not accepting that offer by 30th of September, that was last Friday, then they can email me. My email details is on our website, on the Faculty of Science website. You email me with all of your supporting documents so that I can get a comprehensive idea of what was going on, and then we can see if we can reissue. But in principle, the Faculty of Science does not reissue any offers. All
right. Thank you so much. So if your offer has already expired, unfortunately, we cannot reissue that offer in the Faculty of Science for the reasons that Ms. Valentine has mentioned. I'm not quite certain. Do you guys see me in the dark? Oh my word. But this is why we need you to come and study science, to explore, discover, and find solutions for such kinds of problems. We are back online. So do you have another question for us, Ms. Van den Vora?
Actually, do not have any questions in here. So it seems to me either they know everything or I don't know.
Okay, that is wonderful, because you guys email us questions every day. You guys phone us to ask questions every day. So we are going to unpack those in between as we answer some. I believe that you are still going to send questions. But also remember, because of load shedding, we are still getting back to be connected. So another question is, when does welcoming week start? Basically, when am I expected to be or to arrive on campus?
So if students are in residences, they have a different time, but the Faculty of Science, the academic welcoming program is starting on the 2nd of February, and that's for parents in the afternoon, the welcoming by our dean and our vice dean, and then students have a full week of program starting on the Friday, the 3rd of February, and that continues until the next Thursday. It is a well-planned program, and it's packed with things that you need during the semester and during your studies. So it's very important that you attend this program, and it also gives you an opportunity to get to know the people in your department, get to know the people in the program. So it's very important that you come to Stellenbosch for welcoming, and not only come when you have to register, not only come when you have to start with classes.
Thank you so much for that. This question is for all of you, or for any of you who would like to answer it. I mean, you've been with the university for quite a long time now. Dr. Van Zyl, from class setting, what have you noticed from students who actually miss welcoming week? Is there something that you notice that you're like, I can see you never attended the welcoming week?
I guess it's all about familiarity. It's going to be a new environment, new demands on you, a new town maybe if you haven't been in Stellenbosch before. You need friends. You need to make contact with people that are going through the same thing you're going through. And the best way to get familiar is come to campus, walk around, meet new people. They are in the same boat that you are, and it gives you a chance to acclimatize before the academics start. And let me warn you, when the first week is done, academics start and there's no more social life. So get it done within the first week.
All right. There's no more social life, but you can always seek help from our support services. They'll show you how to manage your time correctly. Listen, you'll do well.
There must be social life, but it must be responsible. We have another question. It's actually a repeat again because we didn't answer it. Do all the BSc programs have the same first year curriculum?
Okay, so no, they don't have the same curriculum. So our programs are structured in biological sciences, physical sciences, mathematical sciences, and then we have interdisciplinary programs. So within biological sciences, the curriculum is quite specific for a specific program, and some of the modules are overlapping, and within biological sciences you can fairly move between the different programs, but it is different. So different programs have different curricula.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Just to add to that, if one student wants to study, for example, a BSc in physics now, but they also love music or dancing, and they feel like, I want to take one module from the music department, or can they do that?
In first year, it is something that I myself do not recommend for our first year students, because the curriculum is quite full. So they have 133 to 140 credits, and to convert that into academic time, the program is quite full. But some students can manage additional modules, and then they have to get approval from the faculty, from the other faculty. And also what is very important is that this module that they do as additional is not clashing with stuff that is compulsory in their curriculum.
So it is possible, but highly not recommended, more especially in your first year. But you mentioned something that they have 133 credits. What are credits?
Okay, so credits is what we link to each and every module. So in the Faculty of Science, our modules are either 16 credits, and at the end of your program, you end up with 360 credits of modules to be able to graduate with a BSc degree. And then also to link, 1 credit is equal to 10 notional hours, and that hours is the time that you spend on that module. So for instance, if something is 16 credits, you will spend 160 hours to at least 160 hours to pass this particular module. So it might be more for some people, and for other people it might be less than that, but that's the minimum amount that they spend on on modules.
And can I add to it? If you take of those hours that you sit inside a classroom or a tutorial or a practical, it is actually, I think, more or less than half the 160 hours that is official class time. So the other number of hours is the hours that the student must engage with the work by themselves.
Yeah.
So that's very, very important. And I think perhaps we can give them an idea of a classical BSc student day or week. Because you don't, some students think they have class the whole time. Classes start at 8 o'clock, you've got classes, and you may have an hour open in between. And most of the time, as Dr. Van Zyl said, there's practicals in the afternoons. That's perhaps a 3-hour slot. We have a practical or a tutorial. But the BSc students, I can actually say most of the time from 8 o'clock until 5 o'clock every day, for all 5 days, you will be busy with classes, with perhaps an hour or two in between that is open. But you won't have a whole afternoon or a whole day free, most probably, not in the BSc.
Yes, thank you so much. We have roughly about 5 minutes left. So if you think you still have a burning question, you better start typing it and send it through to us. But while you are doing that, I'm really making ways for you guys. I'm finding out information for you. So let's now talk about, you mentioned that sometimes you don't have a class in between the hours, and then are all the classes in the same building? Like, what's the setup? I mean, we're talking about people who are sitting at home and imagining this multi life. Do I get all my physics, chemistry, bio, maths in the same place? What's the setup like? Please, can someone just give them that feeling?
As Marietta said, you will have about 3 or 4 classes in the mornings, and then there will be a lunch break, and then in some afternoons you will have some formal tutorial or practical. So in a typical BSc, you'll have chemistry in the one building on the one side of the student center, and a few hundred meters further you'll have physics in the physics building. You may have to go to biology in a different building. Maybe you have a math class in a totally different building than the maths building. It is all over the place. You will get a timetable, you will get venues, and that's what the first week is for, to orientate yourself on campus, get to know where everything is, get a feel for the lay of the land. And so yes, it may be confusing, but you have all your friends with you, all the peers with you, and there are a lot of support that will guide you and make sure you pitch up at the place where you need to go.
And
Absolutely.
the student center is right smack in the middle of town. So then you can pop in for a cool drink or something to buy.
Do you want to add something?
Yeah, what is very important is that to get to know all of these buildings and where you should be, you should attend the welcoming program. So that's very, very important.
All right. So basically, if what we just said now sounded like that's a lot, Dr. Van Zyl mentioned that it's all over the place. If you think that's a lot, it's a sign that you must be here for welcoming week. If you thought, oh, that's doable, that's also a sign that you must be here during welcoming week so that you can do it. You know what I mean? But anyway, maybe now we can talk about the last few things. For science students, like there's someone at home who probably think, I know I want to study science, but at the same time, I also want to do other things. Like, in this environment, we talk about co-curricular activities and stuff like that. How doable is it for science students to say, I'm studying computer science or I'm studying mathematical sciences, but I also want to be in students' leadership? Can anyone advise on that?
I have seen fantastic students doing extremely well, singing in our very world-known university choir or doing sports, etc. Yes, it all comes down to self-discipline. It all boils down to how can you manage your time? Do you have the skills to manage your time? And then we've seen that anything is possible. We've seen actually some students that started their own companies, spin-off companies. But it depends on, your first priority must be the academic work, but definitely you must make time for these other co-curricular activities, because I think that's very important to develop as a young person, to go out into the world of work one day and to have this balance.
Thank you so much. So we have to round up now. I see there's one last question. A student asked, what if you received an email about financial applications but you can't log in? Send an email to info@sun.ac.za. They will help you reset your password. So we are done with you now, but from myself and my colleagues and the entire Faculty of Science, but most importantly, as Stellenbosch University, once again, congratulations on being conditionally accepted. We cannot wait to have you on campus so that you can enjoy the beautiful experience that we have to offer and become one of us. Thank you so much. In Swahili, they say asante sana. Thank you. Bye.